Good morning, everybody. Welcome to FT Kids. It is great to be here with you today. Mrs. Cross's turn is done for a little bit. Now it's going to be my turn for a couple weeks, and it is just great to be back with you. I already counted. We have 21 people here already. Quick question. Noah, I know you're here. Is your brother Ben here? Can you let us know in the chat? I didn't put his name up yet. But we have this morning Mr. Derek on the chat. We have Mrs. Collins here, Josh, Sammy, Fiona, Becky, Gianna, Quinn, Noah, me, Becca, Alyssa, Sophia, Haley, Eli, Liam, Piper, Sawyer, Gavin, Mrs. Cross, and Lewis. So good to see you all. And Ben is here. That's awesome. Wonderful. Make that 22 people. So many people with us this morning. What a great class we're going to have. What a great group. Pastor Chuck often says that Sundays, this time together, or our time in worship, is what sets the tone for the week. And look at us here together in this great group, where we get to enjoy, we get to learn, we get to talk. That is going to set the tone for our week. It is awesome. So welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. Before we get started, if you can have a piece of paper, I have red, but you do not need to have red. If you can have a piece of paper, if you could have something to write with, and if you could have scissors, that's great. If not, you can just watch our activity today, and then you can do it later if you wish. All right? Well, just like last week, we are going to continue learning about the Sermon on the Mount. So here's our mountain or big hill. We have a cross in the middle, and it's Jesus's most famous sermon. A sermon is a time of teaching and preaching. That rhymes. And this is his most famous. This is one that people know about. Geez, if you even are just talking and you mention the Sermon on the Mount, I bet you the person you're talking to knows about it. I bet you, even if they haven't read it. So it's called the Sermon on the Mount because he stood up on a hill or a mountain, mountain, to preach it. And each week we're going to just keep adding symbols here to our hill to talk about things that Jesus talked about, to remind us of things that Jesus talked about. So today we're learning that Jesus preached how God shines his light through us. So I'm going to, I have some bright yellow things up here, but I'm going to also add a picture of a light bulb onto our poster to remind us of that light. There we go. And that's going to be our reminder that Jesus wants to shine his light through us. And we'll be talking more about that today. Before we talk about light, though, we're going to talk about salt, because Jesus has also called us to be the salt of the earth. And we'll discuss what that means shortly, but I want to know about salt first. Is there a salty food you like? Is there a food that you like to eat that you put salt on, or it comes with salt already on, and it has that good flavor? Could you tell us in the chat, what is a salty food that you enjoy? I did a little thinking about that. Cheez-Its came to mind. I do like Cheez-Its. And then I thought about, sometimes wheat thins are a little salty too. Oh, Piper says pretzels and popcorn. I was wondering if someone would say popcorn. Yes, a lot of people put salt on their popcorn. And here's the thing about pretzels. I knock the salt off of mine before I eat them. I'm not into salty pretzels. Quinn says cucumbers with salt. Quinn, that is very popular. I have never done it myself, but I know a lot of people who do. That's such a cool answer. We've got popcorn coming from the Lombardos. Eli likes Cheez-Its. Oh, sorry, Cheez-It double cheese snack mix. Very specific. And peanut butter filled pretzels. Oh, sure, that makes sense. Alyssa and Liam say chips. Potato chips are very salty. They make you really thirsty. Gianna says popcorn as well. Becca and Sophia say pickles. Yeah, pickles are salty. If you have the dill ones, so true. I hadn't even thought about pickles. Great idea. All right, from Fiona, we have popcorn. Oh, bacon. Yes, bacon is salty. And we're going to talk about that shortly. And eggs, that's good. Oh, meat sticks. Oh, great thought about the meat sticks. Chips, says Noah. Okay. So many salty foods. And you came up with things I didn't even think of. That's pretty awesome. Well, now I'm kind of getting hungry from that conversation. Salt is a great way to add flavor to food. Oh, Lewis, yes, thank you so much for being, yes, he fixed it so I can see his name he's writing. Yeah, so Mr. Derek and I are getting hungry over here. Oh, yes, pizza is pretty salty. That's true. It's very true. I often get really thirsty afterwards. Salt often makes us thirsty, and so that's how I know pizza is salty. Well, salt is a great way to add flavor to food. Absolutely, just like we're talking about. That's what makes a lot of these foods taste so yummy. Like cucumbers are great, but you add salt to them, they taste totally different. Popcorn's delicious, add some salt to it, tastes different. Well, salt also can be used to keep food from going bad. Now, right now, we put things into our refrigerator, and that helps things like meat to stay good. It helps to preserve them. It helps to keep them from rotting. Well, before refrigerators, people used to use salt. In fact, bacon is a great example. They would salt the meat, and by putting enough salt in there, it wouldn't rot away as quickly. It wouldn't go bad as quickly. So they could still eat it without a refrigerator. And I think that's one of the reasons that some of our foods still have salt in them. Like, I really wonder, is that why bacon is so salty sometimes? Is it because of the tradition of using salt to preserve the foods? Now, waffles, I'm not sure about that, Ben. Waffles with salt? That is a new one for me. The other thing is that salt can also be used to clean things, and we will be talking about that as well. So Jesus said to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. But first, we're going to do our song. So we talked a little bit about salt. Now we're going to talk about that light of the earth. Our song is This Little Light of Mine. So I hope you enjoy it. Dance along, and we'll talk some more when we get back.
You guys stomp your feet like that? Now let's clap together. That's it. Keep it going. Let's sing This Little Light of Mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All right, keep clapping now. Sounds good? Everywhere I go.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes,
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Oh, that sounds so good. That's called clapping on the backbeat. All right, sing this real quiet with me now.
Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine. Even when I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine.
Yes, even when
I'm afraid, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine, this little light of mine. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Okay, can you hear me now? Good. Thank you. Looks like our battery died in the other one. No problem. Thanks so much. So I was saying that Jesus called us. Oh, you know what? I'm going to start by rereading that verse in case you didn't catch that. Then we'll go back to what I was saying. So it says, Jesus said, "You are the salt of the earth. But what good is salt if it has lost its flavor? Can you make it salty again? It will be thrown out and trampled underfoot as worthless." So we were talking about how salt makes things taste better. So how does salt that makes things taste better go along with us being the salt of the earth? We make things taste better? No, not exactly. As Christians, we make the world around us better. Yeah, we add some flavor to it. We improve it. We add our smiles and our love and our caring, and that is how we flavor the earth and we make it better. So that is what he means by the salt of the earth. And he doesn't want us to ever lose that saltiness, that love, that caring, those smiles. That's why he says salt's no good if it loses its flavor. So he's telling us, hey, use the flavor inside you, use the love and the goodness, and make the world a better place. So like I was saying, in Jesus' time, salt was also important because it helped to preserve food, to keep it from going bad because there were no refrigerators. Well, we can also be the salt of the earth by keeping the world around us from going bad. Just like salt has been used to keep food from going bad, we can help the earth from going bad. We can help people to learn about Jesus, follow the ways of God, and just to be good examples. And when you're a good example, well, just think how wonderful the place that you live is. If you are taking care of it, loving it, caring for it, if you are helping others, showing kindness, well, yeah, you are keeping the earth and our world good, just like salt can keep food good. And finally, we can be like salt. And I had mentioned that salt can help to heal things, Now, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but if you ever have work at the dentist, like if they have to pull a tooth or something like that, or if you have a cut in your mouth and it's bleeding a little bit, you might be told to swish around some salt water. Or if you have a sore throat, sometimes you're told to gargle with salt water. Well, the reason for that is that salt can help to disinfect or to kill bacteria. How cool! So it can heal things. It can heal cuts or wounds or sore throats. So by us as Christians being the salt of the earth, we can bring Jesus' healing to the world around us. Sure we can, just like salt can heal. Now we just heard oh, that's so cool. Very true. So it does help canker sores. Yes, those are the sores in your mouth, totally. And then Piper says it also helps to clear off sidewalks when it's snowy. Yeah, it helps to melt away the snow. It helps to clear away a path. I really like that. You know, you're kind of making the way for Jesus when he comes back by being the salt of the earth. Piper, what a deep thought. I love it. Such smart thinking goes on here. That's why I love this chat. It's just so awesome. Well, Jesus also said that we are like a light because God shines his light through us. So let's read that part in the Bible. This is Matthew 5:14 through 15. You are the light of the world, like a city on a hilltop that cannot be hidden. Yeah, if there's a city up here with its lights on, you can't hide that. There's nothing in front of it. It's way too high. No one lights a lamp and then puts it under a basket. Instead, a lamp is placed on a stand where it gives light to everyone in the house. That goes along with our song. But first, let's talk about what it means to be a light. Then we'll talk about hiding it under a basket and our song. So, to show what Jesus is talking about, we're going to do our little craft here. So, I have some paper. And I'm going to use this to make a heart. Now, I find it's much easier to make a heart if I fold the paper in half. So you might want to do that too. I'm going to fold my paper in half. Now, it's going to be important that you know where the fold is, because we do not, we want the fold on the middle of our picture. And when we're cutting, we do not want to cut the fold off. So what we're going to do is we're going to make half of a heart. So starting where the fold is, so take your finger, find the fold. You know, this is not the fold. This is the fold. So find the fold. And I'm going to start down a little bit lower than where I want the top of my heart to be. I'm going to start right here on the fold, go up in a diagonal and curve around. And then angle back over to that fold. How'd you do? Did you get that? I'll give you another second. Okay, so now we are going to cut right on that line. Now, here's the deal. If you didn't do it on the fold and you end up with two pieces, we are not going to worry about it, okay? You know, you can tape it back together later. So now I'm going to cut on that line. And after I cut on the line, I'll end up with a heart, or something close to a heart. We know that sometimes our crafts do not turn out perfectly, right? Not bad, not bad. And a heart is a symbol that we use a lot in church to show the love that Jesus has for us, the love that we have for others, the love that we have for Jesus and God. You know, when I hold up this heart, I don't see any light coming through it. It's a great symbol, but it doesn't do anything. Jesus says to be a light of the world. That means to take that love that is inside us, the love we have for him, he has for us, we have for others, and to let it shine or to have it show among all the people around us. But right now, if I were to take a light, like the one on my phone, and I were to try to shine it through here, well, you really can't see the light, can you? It's here, but you can't see it. So that's pretty worthless. That's like our song, talking about hiding your light under a basket, or the verse that we read. When you hide your light or your love for others under a basket, it does nothing. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the world around us. It doesn't help other people. It doesn't help God. So what we want to do is to find a way to let that light shine through us, to let us be the light of the world. So we're not done with this craft yet. If you're doing this along with me, fold your paper again. And this time, we're going to draw a line. We're going to have it start just underneath the top. And we're going to have it follow pretty closely the edge of our heart. But we're going to we're going to follow the line of our heart and the edge, but we're going to go along the inside. So it's sort of like we made a border. So take a look at mine. Give yours a try. We good? Okay. Now you're going to take your scissors and we're going to cut on that line. And when I open up what is left, I have a heart that now I can shine my light through. Yeah, now we're not hiding our light. Instead, we're letting it shine. We're letting it show for other people. So I was thinking, what could you do with your heart once you make it? And I thought, if you took it and taped it to a window, it would remind you, as the light from outside shone through it, it would remind you that Jesus wants us to shine our light, to be a light for him, a light of the earth. So that would be a great thing to do. And you could always take the inside and you could do the same thing. And you could make another one. Just like when you share your light with others and how it just keeps going and going and going. That love or that light will never stop. You can just keep going and going and going. I mean, not forever with our paper, but, So, I gave you some examples as I was talking of what it means to be a light for Jesus. What would it look like if people were shining their light for Christ? So I said it meant loving others, sharing that love. What else could it look like if you are shining your light? Can you put some ideas in our chat? What could you do to share your light instead of hiding it under a basket? What could you do to share that love, or to share God's kindness, or to share Jesus' healing, like we talked about with salt, or his goodness? So I was thinking about what our middle schoolers did last week. They painted some rocks at home, and then they went to our church neighbors, the houses around us, and they left those painted rocks on their porches as a way to make them smile, to share God's love, to give a message. That is definitely sharing the light, I think. Oh, Fiona says using manners. That's fantastic. What else are you thinking? You know, I was thinking that when we broadcast or we share our sermons online, that's shining a light. Oh, bringing happiness to others, like that. Quinn says giving hugs when her friends are sad. So nice. Piper says collect food for a food drive. Eli says donate to a charity like Lutheran World Relief. Yes, helping others who need. Great idea. Helping people who are hurt. We could bring some healing and some help. Sophia says helping neighbors get their paper or garbage totes away. Sophia, if you are at Aunt Debbie's house right now, out front of everyone's houses, there are phone books in their driveways. After church, you guys could go pick up the phone books and put them on people's front porches. How cool would that be? Because, you know, mine was in the way when I was backing out today. Just saying. Oh, Mrs. Cross says giving food to food pantries. We're talking a lot about food drives. Food drives are a really big deal. And it's very helpful when people don't have to worry about getting the things they need, like food. It really helps them to relax and feel better. Becca says you could visit a nursing home. Oh, he was on the news. I bet. I think that was his hockey team, if I'm remembering correctly, who did that food drive. Yes, it was. That's what it looks like. Okay. Because your dad was doing it too. That's what I thought. Great examples. So now we know how we can shine a light like Jesus. You know, God shines his light through us. We're not cracked or broken that he can shine a light through. Instead, we're just open to having him shine that light. So living out your faith is like shining a light. So now I want you to think about the people who shine God's light in your life. So I always start off saying how special this time is together. Oh, Liam, thank you. Yes. You can help people if they are hurt, and we also have donating food to the poor. Super. So I often start this time out saying that this is really special to me. You know why? You shine a light on me. You are showing all of this wonderfulness to me and starting my week off so well. So I am going to put FT Kids here as people who help to shine their light in my life. And then, don't you think Miss Sue does a great job with her children's sermon? That means a lot to me. She shines her light on me. Can you share in the chat some other people who shine their light in your life so they help you to see God or God's goodness or Jesus' love in your life? You can put it in the chat, and then if you want to add it to your heart, you can do that too, just like I am. Teachers, absolutely appreciate you noticing that. You know, as a teacher, we really, really try to do this every day. It's so important. Oh, the Kopecks, absolutely, Quinn. And Quinn, that's really special that you said me too. It's funny because I think of you that way. Well, I am going to accept that, and I'm going to put me on there. Thank you. McHughes, the Potempas, Dad and Mom, friends, her godmother, Piper says. Oh, Josh Collins for running the tech for us. Thank you, Mrs. Collins. Jesus. Great ideas. So many people in our lives that we could be sharing. That's awesome. Now, this isn't something we're going to share, but it's something I want you to stop and think about for a minute. Oh, and Miss Marcia, totally agree, McHughes. Miss Marcia, absolutely. This morning, she was making me smile before we even started, and I said, she's so good at just making me happy. I even said that. Oh, and Fiona, your sister? That's really special. Thank you for sharing that. So sometimes it's easy to think about people who shine God's light in our life. But just as important, maybe even a little more important, is thinking about the people who need us to shine God's light in their life. Is there someone who's in need of a little extra love, caring, or maybe just to hear about God? Stop and think for a minute. We're not going to put it in the chat, but think. Who could use that light in their life right now that you know? Like, I have an example that I don't mind sharing. My example, in case you're having trouble coming up with someone, is I know a family who the dad is in the hospital and the mom is home on her own. The kids are grown. They're not in the house anymore. But, you know, the mom can't go up to the hospital and be with her husband because of the virus, because of COVID. And, you know, she can't have visitors over to keep her company, so she's kind of lonely. So even though I can't go over there, I could call on the phone and share some encouragement, or I could send a card and let her know that I'm thinking of her, and maybe for just a minute she wouldn't feel so lonely. So think of someone in your mind and maybe think of something you could do to help. And I challenge you, can you actually do that thing and bring God's light into their life? That's your challenge for this week. Well, Jesus had something to say about the purpose of letting our light shine. So we're going to read the last part of this verse. This is Matthew 16. And he says, "In the same way, let your good deeds shine out for all to see, so that everyone will praise your heavenly Father." So in order for people to praise God when you do something well or you do something for them, and they say, "Oh, that was so nice of you," you can say thank you. You could also say, "Well, I just thought I'd share a little Jesus with you today." That would give them a way to know that you're worshiping God and you're doing it for Him, not just for them. It's your choice how you want to react, but that's one way that you could. God shines His light through us, and we can use that light to show God, to show everyone who God is. So now it's time for us to end our little time together, and we're going to end with a prayer. So you might want to fold your hands, bow your head, perhaps even close your eyes, and I'd like if you'd repeat after me. Dear God, help me to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world. Amen. I've loved our time together. Thank you for bringing the light of God into my life this morning. I can't wait to see you back here. Oh, I was just going to end, but I have one more thing to say. Just like Mrs. Cross mentioned last week, your family, will be getting a box, and it has some great Advent treats inside. Now, Mrs. Cross shared last week that you can make an Advent chain using the materials in this envelope. Now, you probably don't have your box yet. It will be coming. But I also wanted to share with you one other thing that's in here. Remember, we didn't want to give away all the surprises, so I'm keeping this kind of hidden. But one of the things in here is a candle. It's battery powered, and you can turn it on to remind you of today's lesson, letting God's light shine. Also, you're going to notice that we're starting to light the candles in our Advent wreath today. So perhaps when you are using the chain that you make in here with special Bible verses, or on Sundays when you're watching our worship service, you could light your candle, just like we're lighting candles for Advent. So now I will say, it's been a great time. Can't wait to see you next week. Bye, everybody.